All right, so Destroyer 666.
I'm sorry, it's Destroyer.
Destroyer 666.
Forget the umlaut.
With the Call of the Wild EP. This was released on February 23rd, 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry we're a little late. We've been extremely busy with our own bands and everything, so...
yeah. No, so this band is one of those ones that I keep meaning to listen to, because I love thrash metal, and I love black metal, and they're like, oh, they're like black and thrash, like, of course that's something I would probably love.
Currently on tour with Watain,
Yeah.
actually. And we just reviewed Watain, so we thought, let's do this one too. Plus it's an awesome EP, and it's an easy way to get introduced to Destroyer 666, I'm guessing. Because I've never listened to them before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's start with the first song, which is Violence is Golden.
Violence is golden. Did it make you want to become silent? Or violent? Or something?
No. I'm confused. No. So, Violence is Golden. Awesome. This is a great song. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. So this is the first of many. See, sorry.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say, I'm like any good, at least thrash-inspired song, it is a pun.
Oh, of course.
Wordplay.
Violence is
because
golden.
you can't be a thrashy sort of band without wordplay.
Of course.
It's illegal.
All power to Exodus for really, really enforcing that.
Yes.
I will say, this is called Call of the Wild EP, but it really should have been called Pick Slide, All the Pick Slide. Because every single song has at least one, and I'm like, it's really cool and classic and metal and awesome. But the song goes, and you get that left-right panning at the beginning.
It's just the best, like, if you don't know how to transition from one section to another of a song, just do a pick slide. It's the best possible transition.
The fact is, they don't just do it because they can. They do it because it sounds really cool in the songs. So I just wanted to get out of the way that
pick slides always sound cool.
There are so many pick slides. So this song has the intro with the left and right panning because it's thrash, and of course you have to thrash and blacken. Although I will say, I say thrash and blacken, but this is much slower. This whole album is much slower than I expected it to be.
Well, it picks up, like, more. Like, it starts out a little slower than you expect. You're like, oh, this riff is what my brain categorizes as thrashy, but it's kind of slow. But then it gets faster.
Yes. So the verse riff is like that sort of it's the very classic sort of just riff on the root and then do a sort of sort of thing, and it's really straightforward and it's awesome. And then it goes and has this chord, like the singer plays the chords and then ascending, descending, back and forth sort of scaly business, and it's so good and it moves so much, and I really
to
enjoyed
like
it.
transition to the second half of the song with that other riff.
With the so in the chorus they go the it has awesome sort of like really sort of wonky and sideways descent of two notes again and again and again, and it's really cool sounding. I really enjoy it. And so with the chorus of Violence is Golden.
Yeah, very chantable and like marchy.
Yes, it's very much a marching, driving metal sort of thing, and it's really fun. And then what was it? Make the river of the world runs with blood or something like that.
Something runs with blood. I don't know. There's blood involved.
It's so great, and it's so just classically metal, but then it kicks up the speed a lot during the bridge.
Yeah, for this bridge and for basically like the rest of the song.
Yes.
When it gets that other riff in there. That more like, I said a transition from a walk to like a trot or a gallop, like a slow gallop.
It's very, I said it was like sort of Motorheady and the sort of like Ace of Spades, sort of like, oh, let's get a really fast sort of riff going. I really enjoyed it, and the tone is very much in that sort of area. And then
what is it? One of those? It's like a swingy riff. It's a doodly doodly.
Well, yeah, this whole
like
EP,
very up and down the scale. They use lots of riffs like that.
Yeah, lots of classic ascending, descending scale riffs. And then we have the solo or two solos. I thought of it as two solos because there's
kind of felt like two solos to me. Yeah,
there's a chorus in the middle, but it feels very much a continuation of the same set of thought patterns.
Well, and both solos are very similar in that they like, you know, they start out with whatever solo is, and then they both end by just like reverting back to the riff. By reverting back to the riff and just kind of doing accent marks on the riff. Yes, which is kind of neat. But, like, also it just kind of, the solos just kind of, like, peter off.
Yeah, I will say that's unfortunate. And the first solo I felt was really repetitive, because it starts off with, you're like, all right, how many times are they going to do the exact same climb? And then it goes, beedle-doo, 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 and then it does that, like, 12 times, and you're like, all right.
Yeah. No, the second solo, the second part of the solo, the second solo is definitely better.
It's much better with, like, these sick bends and awesome shreddy, trim-picky business, and it's really, really good. And I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And the whole song, like, it does, like, a final chorus with this big band, sort of like, you know, we will, you know.
Oh, yeah, and, like, what we didn't mention is that this, when transitioning from the first part of the song to the second part, it goes up, like, a step or whatever. Like, it's not a key changer, it's just, like, changes to singing the melody on, like, a different note in the scale.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
It just, like, steps it up and is like, oh, this is higher now, therefore it's more exciting.
No, like I said, the outro ends with this big band finish over the chorus, and it slows down, and it's like, and it's really, it's just a solid song. Violence is Golden is. It was a great opening track. And the next song is Stone by Stone.
Stone by Stone. Did you want to throw a stone at the song?
I did not. No, the song is also very good. This whole EP is pretty good. So Stone by Stone. This one definitely kicks up the speed. It starts off with this. Yeah. I would
say this is more like, as far as riffs and like vocals go, this song starts out more on the black metal side of things.
Yes, like I said, the intro is
like
just
very trempicky riff,
trempic like, with the descending scales at the end to add that thrash. There's a little sprinkling of thrash on it, and then the verse. And the verse riff is just kind of an evolution of the intro riff, which is fine, because it goes... It's this very sort of lilting... This is where the first...
It's got the same, like, feel as the end of the previous song with the, like... I don't know, it's got this...
like I said, it's lilting.
Yeah, it's lilting. It's got, like, a swoopiness.
Swoopiness, yes. A circular motion that we feel. Yeah. You know, we've said before in our previous black metal stuff.
The thing is, I wouldn't say that this spins. I would say that it, like...
It's definitely got... It's just...
It waves. I don't know.
I guess. No, but it's got that... And then the verse... Like I said, the verse just sort of evolutions that. And the verse is the first and second half, and the second half is much more like minor feeling, but it's basically still sticking to that same sort of lilting, trim-picked, scaly descents. And the only thing that changes between a lot of them is the number of descents. Sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 4, and it's fast and but simple, but it sounds awesome and fast and shreddy and metallic. Then the chorus is the first time we get this sort of like thrashy group chanty feel.
Yeah. What I was gonna say before we leave the verse, the only time this sort of vocal appears on the thing, on the EP, I mean, is kind of this snarly, like it's, I can't do it at all, obviously, but it's, I don't know, I almost want to say it's my favorite vocal on the album.
It's much more blackened.
It's more black metal vocal, rather than, I feel like the rest of this album just is a lot of shouting.
Which, you know, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's a perfect vocal for the music.
Well, yeah, it works with the songs, but I prefer different vocals than just shouting.
All right.
I don't know.
Well, all right then. No, but moving on to the chorus. Speaking of shouting, this really brings in the thrashy sort of group shouty sort of business.
Shouting.
Stone by stone. And over the whole thing is like these big chords. It's like...
Which really is like a nice contrast to all of the... There were so many notes in the verse.
Yes.
And then there's just these chords in the chorus so that you can really like... hear the words so you can chant along with them, which makes sense.
And then the second half of the chorus has this sort of almost like melodic death lead, because they are doing that shouting thing that you mentioned.
The second half of this chorus, it's got a great lead.
Because the lead is doing what the vocal is, the notes the vocal are supposed to be, and it's very, like I said, it has that melodic death sort of satisfying nature where you feel the singing, and the vocal is more of a percussion almost underneath it, and it's really satisfying, and it's, in my opinion, one of the best choruses on the whole EP.
Yeah. I do definitely like the evolution of the chorus from like the first repeat to the second repeat, like growing into something else.
Absolutely. It has the most like movement. The song has like the most switching of riffs and the changing and like I said, the evolution of riffs, and it's really nice. I love everything about this. Then the solo comes in extremely fast and shreddy, and all the solos on this album are pretty short.
Yeah.
But yes, but
the solo's just so far away.
Yes, it's very
off in the
quietly
distance.
mixed, I feel.
Yeah.
But it's lots of really fast, trim-picky, shreddy, like tremolo army stuff. It's very black and thrash. Like,
and I like it's like, and everything on this album is very articulate.
Yes, you can definitely hear individual notes being really fastly picked. Like
and I'll say at the end more, I kind of didn't like.
Really? Because I felt it had that sort of Nuno Betancourt sort of, you can really hear each individual note, that sort of Racer XC sort of feel.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to that later.
Yeah. So the verse after the solo, I guess the solo wasn't enough for, so the guitar player's name is RC, and the vocal and rhythm guitarist is KK Warslut. Great name. That sounds like someone's screen name. But so the verse after the solo is after each verse section, he kind of adds a little more. He accents. Like I said, the song has so much evolution in it. Mm-hmm. He really accents with a ton of different leads, like bends.
Well, I think this was the song where by the end of it, I felt like there was just too many too
much movement
like
all
going on top of each other.
Well, like I said,
and it was a little chaotic to me, but
which I feel is the point. You know, if you're going to be an extreme metal band, you got to show off that you can layer cacophonously.
It confused me.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'll have to listen to it more, which I'm assuming you will.
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So, and in the end, it's like it's the outro once again. It's like the chorus, but with new words.
Yeah.
And
it's nice. It goes back to the chorus that you know, but just different words, and then it ends on the same like stone by stone.
Stone by and slows down. Stone by stone. And it's just it's like I said, the song moves and evolves and it's just really dynamic, and I really like the way it's built. It's almost so great I can't hear the Call of the Wild.
The Call of the Wild. Was this song wild?
Yes. I mean, it wasn't out of control as much as Stone by Stone was, but so the song is really interesting the way it's set up because it's like only 4.5 minutes long.
Yeah, and it's like a third intro, but the intro is freaking epic.
Yeah, it's these very big arena rock drums.
Like,
it's like this huge sounding.
It's awesome.
Enormous.
No, I love this intro. Like, I love these, like, kind of slow, like, rumbly tom intros.
Yeah, and there's, like, this chord progression is just like... It just plays the chord progression. And the lead guitarist just gets to, like...
Yeah, and then it's like just the chords at first, and then he comes in with this cool lead,
and then suddenly the song switches to this sort of
it's awesome, like juxtaposition, because the drums and like the chord whatever like cuts out, and then it's like panned speedy riff,
trim picking with like taps, with the tap in it there, and then there's like either a guitar lead or guitar solo that's mixed a little bit quietly, so it sounds a lot like the rhythm, but it's just with these crazy fast, like you mentioned before, these articulate trim picked sort of notations, and it's really good. It sounds really cool and really awesome. And then it keeps that guitar riff, you know, and the verse has a call and response with it.
Yeah, where there's like the vocals, and then it does the like tapped notes.
Yeah, because the verse will be like, and then it's like, and then it goes back to the verse.
Yeah.
Then does it again, back and forth.
Yeah, and like something about how like how the vocals were done in this section, like how they're mixed in combination with the kind of like thrashy sort of riff, like made me think of Venom, which I guess makes sense because they're
black
kind
and
of
thrash. Whoa, crazy.
But
which is funny because then we get into the chorus, and I throughout this whole song could not stop hearing in my head in certain parts. Run to the Hills, Iron Maiden. They're very clearly inspired by a lot of very classic metal groups.
Well, I mean, that song's got the same sort of swingy riff. So.
Yeah, so tell me if you guys also hear the sort of, you know, Run to the Hills thing going for it, and Venom. Venom covered Run to the Hills ever?
Bro,
I would love to hear that.
I'd listen to that.
Yeah, so then the chorus has this harmonic guitar climb. Like, it has this very sort of... It's very interesting.
It's a very percussive... like harmonics
it's very much unlike a lot of this album, there's a lot of treble in it. It hits really hard in that sort of grindy ear hit way where your ears are just like, that's like a guitar playing something extremely metal, and it's really good. And then the chorus comes in really anthemic. It's the call of the wild, and it's this really interesting.
It's interesting because the vocals are more sustained, and then the guitars are getting the punchiness.
Yeah,
with the d d d, and the vocals are da 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 da, except not notes, but like
well, that's
chanting.
What I was gonna say.
It's chanting, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, it reminded me a lot of. I said this reminded me of like Fist for Fight or whatever, Sabaton's first sort of album before they became like really into the whole like power metal-y swingy thing, because it feels very anthemic but not musically. So you know what I'm saying? It's not beautifully sung. It's not a ballad. It's just everyone in the crowd's gonna get into this song. And it's gonna feel really good. And then, of course, we have the solo with pick slides, because every song has pick slides. And this one has, like, sweet shredding.
I like this solo a lot, because the chords that, like, lead into it are, like, weirdly major.
Yeah.
Not quite major, but, like, definitely a way more chipper sounding than, like...
I called it, like, almost a climbing folk sort of progression.
Yeah, whatever it was. And then the guitar solo was, like, is super shreddy and like he's really enjoying playing, and I'm like, all right, sweet, I like this.
Yeah, like I said, this has like blackened thrash power elements sprinkled in all over it. I feel like there's a little bit of power metal-y sort of chord progression sprinkled in here, and I really liked it. And Call of the Wild, it's the title track for the album. It's really good. It's like I said, it starts off huge and epic and goes to this sweet solo, and it's just a good song.
Yeah, and there's lots, like, with all of this group chanting, there's lots of ways for everybody to get involved. And, like, with the last verse or bridge or whatever, there's, like, really cool vocal layering happening. Like, I'm not a huge fan of all the vocals on this album, but, like, it's cool in that they layer the two layers over each other. One of them is, like, the normal shouty sort of, I'm shouting and kind of monotone, blah. And then there's, like, just a more spoken layer underneath, and I'm like, that sounds really cool, because like one's more like high pitched and one's more low pitched.
Speaking of the talked vocal, the next song really has that as a big part of it.
Yeah.
So the next song is Trialed by Fire.
Trialed by Fire. Did you want to fire this song?
No. It was certainly different. I guess I would call this the ballad.
Yeah, it's the slow song. The slow, dramatic one. Yes,
the song is more than 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
And with the other songs being about 4 minutes, almost 5. Because
the intro is so long.
Yeah. This song is really... It starts off with it's basically two pieces stacked on top of each other. So there's a long intro bit, the verse bit, verse-chorusy bit, then the intro bit, then the verse-chorusy bit. And so the intro is these very sort of clean sort of guitar plucks, this ominous chanting, is it
is very slow and kind of ambling.
And then he starts creepily telling you the story over, and he's just whispering into the mic in this deep sort of vocal sort of bleh. And so when the guitars and chorus finally come in, it's this awesome sort of counter thing where it's like there's these big, once again, it's that arena rock.
Yeah, it pulls in the epicness.
Yeah, it's big and it's slow. That's the thing, is I didn't expect so much slowness on this album, and yet this song really takes a really slow chord progression, and it keeps it going in the verse because there's these sort of slow driving drums and these slow chords, but but it's still moving because it has sort of is that march, but like a slow march.
Verging on sluggish to me.
Like too slow?
It is verging on too slow, in my opinion.
Really? Because see, I felt that it was powerful and moving, and like I said, it's like you can see like an army marching across a wasteland to this sort of song, and it feels powerful, especially like I said, with those big arena rock drums and those slow chords. And it feels, it's got a bit of a doomier feel than the rest of it almost.
I guess.
But then after the verse, it goes right back into that sort of intro with the slow cleans and the creepy sort of chanting, and then the talking that's really low and whispery. And it really, for me, the song already had low energy, and that kind of like cut it for me.
Mm-hmm. No, and like I said here that the vocals confuse me in this song, in that they there's the spoken word part, and then like in the verses, it's in the tone. It's kind of the tone of, like, a speech that a commander would give pre-battle, like, where it's kind of shouted enthusiastically, like, shouted with a cadence, but not with, like, a melody. Fire. Yeah. It's like the dramatic pre-battle speech.
Which is great. That's totally, like I said, I told you, I get the feeling of the army marching thing, and it's really great. So the second time, when the guitar comes in, we get that we would normally call it the blech, but he doesn't say blech. He says ah.
It's the anguished yell, which I love.
Yeah, which ah.
Because it kind of there's kind of like a lull in the music before that, and then the guitars and the vocals come at the same time, all forward with the ah.
Yeah, no, and it's great how everyone comes back in. Like I said, in a true black metal song, it would have been the bleh. But because it has more of a metal feel, it's just like really sort of ah. And
yeah, and then for that's about 3 minutes away from the end.
Yeah,
and that last 3 minutes is like my favorite part of the song, in my opinion.
Yeah, because he goes from this sort of trim pick, almost like I said, it's almost a majory, almost a ballady, almost like it's this powerful lead that's like, and it's just like it's like a storytelling sort of powerful war metal lead, and then after he yells, the trial by file. And in the second time, he does do a little bit more of that black metal grindy vocal for like a second. Then he goes back into the big chanty vocal. Then there's a really quick, a longer solo comes in. And the solo is trim-picked at first. And into, their classic sort of metal shreddiness. But then suddenly it becomes a slow solo. Halfway through, that's really quiet. Like it's really,
it almost just kind of like doesn't feel like it's there.
Yeah, it's because it's just like it does. Once again, does that sort of
yeah, and it just kind of fades back into the riff.
Yeah, and then it turns, like I said, into that sort of trim picky thing again, and then the last part of the song is really different and weird because it adds this sort of like
this like choir, I guess.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's not. You're doing it a little more jolly than it actually is.
I don't know. It sounds pretty major and jolly.
I don't know. It didn't sound very jolly to me because I think it's paired with you have these like woes, whatever underneath, and then you have the like anguished screaming again on top, and I love that. It makes me smile so much to have these like these clean like oh whatever with the I'm angry or sad or whatever
or dying. And like I said, and then like the chords sustain through the end of the song, and it's this chanting with the chords sustaining with the anguish screams. And it's just this beautiful, like I said, huge sound. It sounds enormous, and it's just really good. Like
the last 3 minutes of the song.
Top notch. Absolutely amazing. I would have loved to have seen them live. But, oh well, what do you do?
I missed that concert.
Yeah.
I had a concussion, so.
Yeah, that's right. From another concert. It was Municipal Waste.
And Exodus.
Yep, that's awesome.
Damn it.
So, Destroyer 666, Call of the Wild EP. Best song.
My favorite was Call of the Wild.
Really?
Yeah.
I can 100% agree with you on that. Absolutely. Call of the Wild was number one. It had those huge arena rock drums that were just like...
Yeah. Just that intro was so epic. I loved it.
What else did you like?
I just... Like, the intro was my favorite part. And it had the best solo, I think, also.
Oh, yeah,
Or the most, like, exciting solo that sounded like the guitarist was having fun playing it.
And pick slides.
And pick slides. And it had that, everybody.
That chorus that was weirdly anthemic with the harmonic guitars underneath. Yeah, they were just doing some... It just felt so weird mixed with them, yeah. Worst song?
I mean, they were all pretty good.
Yeah.
I just, like... Trial by Fire was too long for me.
Yeah, I will say, if I had to pick one, I would pick Trial by Fire.
I really liked the last 3 minutes, but then, like, to get to that last part, like, took a while.
Yeah. But I will say they're all good songs, in my opinion. So, would you tell anyone else to listen to this album?
Sure. It wasn't what I was expecting. Because, like...
You expected more blackened?
Yeah, I expected it to sound more black metal than it was. But I liked it nonetheless. It just, like... I'd primed my ear for something else.
Yes, I 100% agree. Would you keep this on your iPod?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely would love to go back and listen to more. Yeah, will you go and listen to more after this now?
Probably, yeah. I'd like to see what they developed from, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would like to see either more blackened or more thrash or more, like, deathy.
That's the thing is, like, whichever direction, like, if you're a blackened thrash band, even if you teeter or totter in whichever direction, it's still going to sound, like, pretty good, probably.
Yeah, so I'm really interested to hear more about that. Beyond that, so what would you rate this album? Scale of 1 to 10?
It's hard to say. I don't know, like 7?
Yeah, I rated it 7 or 8. It's just really good.
Solid.
It was excellent. So, in the end, everyone's a critic, including us. Pick slide.